welcome to Thor's Hammer, brought to you by MikeFans.com. I'm Viking Bob, and I'm sitting in my man cave, hurting quite a bit because it's been a hell of a Thanksgiving. I hope everybody at home had one as well. I'm drinking a Long Island iced tea. I'm changing it up because I've been drinking the Jack and Coke, and we finally lost on one of those, so I'm changing it up. And tonight I have the whole crew's back tonight. I got Georgia Vike, OBM, and Mike Olson. So let's go to Mike Olson first. We haven't gotten him first. So, Mike, how are you tonight?
I'm still suffering from the turkey blues, sleeping it off and trying to wake up. How you doing, Bob?
Tryptophan's kicking my ass. I know that much.
Right.
What are you drinking tonight?
Well, right now I'm drinking water. Just got back from the gym, but I'm looking to get into some Monkey Shoulder. Yep, that's right, GV. Some Monkey Shoulder Scotch blended whiskey. You know, that's one of those weirder names, but it works.
Monkey Shoulder.
You got it.
You drinking Monkey Anus next week, or what do you got going on?
Hey.
That was last week.
Oh yeah, my bad.
Yeah. Gonna drink some gorilla nipple sweat later.
Alrighty, Georgia Vike, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. You know, living the dream down here in Atlanta. Got some beautiful weather finally for a few days. Got totally annihilated on Thanksgiving. Had a great meal, and looking forward to heading out to the Vikings game here this Sunday. So good times all around down here.
Awesome. OBM, buddy, how are you?
What's going on, my brothers? It is a beautiful 68-degree day here in Arizona again. It's been a phenomenal weather all week. I should have gotten out to the golf course, but kids did not allow that. So I am sipping on a Jack on the rocks, still living the dream, still on my diet, still not drinking soda, but still getting fucked up tonight. How about you guys?
Well, living the dream as well. You know, it's had yesterday off and today off and ate way too much turkey, and it's kicking my ass, but no, I feel like Rocky. Yo, Adrian, I'm getting killed.
Do it, Balboa.
Yeah. Yo, cut me open.
Cut me, Mick.
Yeah. But, OBM, you got 68 down there?
68, you know, it'd be perfect if it was 69, but 68 is close enough, right?
You know who I am, right? I got 64 today.
64, wow, that's amazing.
Oh, it's a great day there.
We had 72 here today, so am I the hot spot of the day or what?
I guess. I know it's not Olson.
No.
Yeah, Olson, my mother-in-law's in town from Minneapolis right now, and she looked at the weather forecast for me this morning, so I was blessed with that information instantly out of bed.
You can tell her she got a lot to look forward to coming back to here.
Yeah, I heard Shoreview was like 20-some-odd degrees today with wind chills like in the teens or something like that.
Yeah, that's about right.
F that, dude. F that.
All right, guys, this is where I want to give a little self-pat in the back to the four of us and tell everybody listening that we have a sister website now carrying our podcast. They are called Viking Digital Diaries. And if you live in Minneapolis or the Minneapolis area, on Monday night from 6 to 8 p.m., they are at the Poorhouse for a live podcast with a couple of former NFL players, golfers, Ben Utecht and Reese Lloyd. There'll be some former players calling in, former Vikings, Devin Aromashadu, Chris Kluwe, Matthew Hatchett, Doug Chapman, and Sharif Floyd is either going to call in or be there in person. They have live raffles for Trey Wayne's autographed pictures, and a bunch of gopher stuff. So if you're in the area, check out the Poorhouse and say hello to Viking Digital Diaries as they also carry our podcast.
Hey, Bob.
Yes, sir.
Is Viking Digital Diaries, are they on Facebook?
Yes, they are.
That's what I thought.
So we're growing and we're liking it. And, you know, we've been recognized by another website. So we can pat ourselves in the back a little bit here, guys. Well done.
If anyone's listening on Vikings Digital Diaries, though, can they come over to VikeFans.com as well and kind of get on board as well to kind of see how things are going over at our place as well?
Good call, Georgia. Yes, they can.
Good. You know, I think it's the best site there is on the web for a fan board. You know, but some people are about them, some people aren't, but I think it's a great place, and it's a lot of respectful people. So it's not basically there's not a lot of trolling people, is what I like to say. So come on out and check it out.
There's no reason why it can't be on more than one.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, let's take a look at last week's game against the Packers, and it was our chance to basically put a couple of nails in the coffin. If we came out and won that game, they would have been basically 3 games out. But of course, we sucked. We can't win the prime time games, and we lost. And basically into essentially a tie or a half game back to the tiebreaker system. But God helped us last night. And the Bears. The Bears came back and beat the Packers last night. And guess what? The Packers. They're behind us again. So big game on Sunday. But let's first talk about the debacle in the battle border last Sunday. Let's keep us quick because it's depressing. OBM, what do you got?
Well, I think, for whatever reason, the Vikings played their poorest game of the year. A lot of penalties, a lot of untimely penalties, a lot of just a little bit of everything. We had some guys who just, for whatever reason, didn't seem to have their head in the game last week, and it cost us. And, we all think the Vikings pretty much win that game, except GV, of course. So I was shocked at the outcome, to be honest with you. I thought we were going to see a well-played game, and instead we got a big, giant mess is what we got. So hopefully we'll recoup this week. But, yeah, last week, let's just hope that was just kind of an anomaly because it was pretty ugly. GV, thoughts?
I thought the game last week wasn't what I don't want to say I saw this happening or going to happen, but it was just terrible. There's so many things that I was pissed off watching the game. It wasn't. I don't want to say the refs cost us the same because they didn't cost. They didn't dictate the game enough to cost us the game, but the officiating sucked. Watching that game, I just sat there, and every time we did something positive, I was waiting for a flag to be thrown on it. Anytime that someone got near Rodgers, I was waiting for a flag to be thrown on it. Anytime that Green Bay didn't, get a first down on 3rd and 40 or something like that, if they didn't get it, I was waiting for the refs to throw a flag so they got it. The game was frustrating from all points of view, but Green Bay beat us. Kudos to them. Fuck it, let's move on.
You know what? We went in the game as the least penalized team. And opening drive, we had 3 penalties. And I don't know if they were really penalties. I think, Roger Goodell sitting in the stands was radioing down to the refs. Because we had to lose this game because the NFL is the new WWE. It's all about entertainment and money. My opinion. You don't agree with me, people. I'm joking here. At times when the team's losing and shit like this happens, the Zebras beat you, I get really frustrated. I don't like it. But I'll say this much. From that game on to Monday Night Football, where the ESPN Monday Night Countdown crew took the Vikings game and the old "come on" skit. Come on, man. They dissected the hit on Rodgers and the no call that should have been on Teddy. So they saw it, and then later on the Patriots are playing the Bills Monday night, and those announcers were, this officiating is horrible. And then even last night with the Packers and Bears game, the announcers there were calling out the officiating. So let's hope something happens from all this, that the league steps up and does something, because it just seems like there's certain teams or players that always seem to get every call, which basically makes it the WWE. This is a professional sport. Let's get the playing field level. You're a quarterback. You can be the 32nd ranked quarterback in the league, but you're still a starting quarterback on a team. You should have the same protection rights as Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers do. It's kind of ridiculous that certain players and teams get more calls than the other. But hopefully it changes. and that's how I feel. Sorry if anybody disagrees with me, but that's me. You know, I'm not a happy camper last Sunday. But from there, let's go forward now. We watched Thanksgiving night. We watched the Bears beat the Packers. Oh, was it a beautiful thing to see. All right, let's go to Mike Olson on his thoughts of the Vikings-Packers game. Mike?
Well, I think a lot of fans were down after that game, and understandably so, but, you know, a few of them were standing on Lafayette Bridge ready to jump into the Mississippi over it, and I think that's fans are overreacting a little bit. I mean, you have to remember that Green Bay was really with their backs against the wall. Had they lost that game, they'd really be looking at having a tough time getting back into the division race. So they were really up for that game. I think our guys were just a little bit too emotional heading into it, and they let those emotions get the better of them and committed a few too many penalties, and the refs were certainly there ready to throw the laundry on the field. In fact, they called a few penalties that just weren't there. But not to make excuses. Like I said, the Packers were just ready to come and play. They had to do that in order to make it an interesting season down the stretch. So I don't look at it as though, you know, this team isn't going to show up this Sunday to play or anything like that. I think they're going to be ready to play. I think they're going to bring a good game against Atlanta. And when they do, fans will be ready to get back on that bandwagon and they'll forget this Packer loss.
Agreed. We went on Sunday. We're back in first. And from there, I'll start driving that bin wagon again next week. Georgia Vikes, shut up.
I'm biting my tongue, Bob.
Hey, the schedule's running down. You know, less games every week we play. So eventually, I could be right.
You could be. I'll use that word with caution.
Yeah, I'm a little more cautious now after seeing last week's debacle. I was not happy. I was totally let down by that team. I was pulling my hair out. I had my 12-year-old son with me who was really getting into the game now, and he's looking at me going, "Dad, really?" Well, he's still on board. You know, he's getting there. He's my pride and joy.
Yeah, he's young yet and influential.
All right, so let's talk about last night's game a little bit, real quickly. The Bears did us a favor by beating the Packers on Brett Favre's retirement night. Georgia Vike, take it.
I thought it was awesome. It was basically like an early Christmas present for me to watch Chicago knock off Green Bay. I like watching Aaron Rodgers chuck his helmet in the sideline because, you know what, even with the disease game we had against them last week, Green Bay, if we go into Lambeau Field this year and beat them, they're going to get swept at home by the division. That would be kick ass for me. I just hate Green Bay. Anytime they lose, it's a win for me. And I felt like the Vikings won last night. We didn't even play. It's Chicago. I don't care much for Chicago, but you know what? I hate Green Bay more than any other team in the NFL. So Green Bay loss is a victory to me. So it's great watching it. Green Bay, they have lots and lots of problems going on over there. Lots of them. Offense, defense. Now people are bitching about the coaching. They're complaining about Aaron Rodgers, which is asinine in my opinion. Any fan who's complaining about Rodgers right now, shut up. Shut up. You haven't had a quarterback problem in 20 years. I don't want to hear about it. But the team is out of sync. I don't know what's going on, but I'm loving it. I really am loving it.
How can you not? Fuck the Pack.
Amen, brother.
OBM, your thoughts on the game last night?
You know, I mean, well, first of all, it was awesome. I mean, just to see the Packers lose at home again. I think that's their second loss this year on their home field. So hopefully, end of December, early January, whenever we play them that last week of the season, we can make it a third loss or maybe even a fourth loss. Who knows? But right now, the thing that's real interesting is the Packers have lost, 4 of their last 5, I believe. And ironically, the Falcons, our opponent this week, has done the same thing. So hopefully come this week, you know, the Vikings can step up and keep that streak going of, and the Packers keep losing and the Vikings turn it around this week. Obviously, GV's going to be at the game this week. I'm going to be at the game the following week when they're here in Arizona. So I'm hoping just by our presences, I don't know if that's a word. Our presence there alone will get the Vikings over the next two games and hopefully in the win column for both weeks. But as for the Packers, they've got some serious things going on. I mean, I saw on PFT that they actually had a meeting because some of the guys were playing too many video games.
Nerd alert!
Yes, I cannot make that up. So
video games?
They were playing too much Madden, according to the report on PFT, and Aaron Rodgers was not happy with it. He did not think. It basically named Rodgers as one of the guys saying that he didn't think everybody's heart was into, the practices and the scheming and all of that good stuff. So they had a players-only meeting, and I guess that was one of the things that was mentioned, that there were guys more worried about playing Madden and actually, contributing to that practice and during some of these games. So there's obviously some discontent in that locker room, and I don't know if we've seen that, ever since, Aaron Rodgers has been there anyway. I don't remember hearing any, seeing them lose like this. Mike McCarthy coming under a little fire, so they're starting to feel the heat a little bit, maybe. I mean, they got pumped up for the Vikings because it was just a huge game, and then it seems like, Detroit and the Bears, for whatever reason, they just did not play with that same enthusiasm. And, like I said, it's going to be interesting down the stretch here because anything can happen. So let's hope they keep losing and we keep winning, baby. Yeah.
Hey, brother, I want you to, when we get done with the show tonight here, I want you to go send up a GoFundMe page for Xbox Ones for the entire Packers team. Because, keep them playing the freaking video games as long as they're losing. Hell, I'll chip in one for Rodgers, too. What the hell? Let's go.
Maybe next year we can get EA to ship a Madden like a month early. So, like, right when training camp begins, they can get it.
Yes, the early preview, yes. Send it all to Green Bay. Perfect.
Send all of them to Green Bay, brand new Xboxes, PS4s, whatever they need. We'll send them that shit in like mid-July.
Exactly.
Right before camp opens up.
If you feel bad for them, raise your hand. Honestly, if you feel bad for them, raise your hand.
I just broke both my arms, Bob, trying to hold them down.
I see nobody raising their hand. Awesome.
No, but I mean, what a crazy report. I mean, PFT. I mean, they're fairly well respected. They're becoming a little bit like TMZ anymore with these Manziel reports. But just to have a story come out like that, where Aaron Rodgers supposedly is incensed about some of the guys on the team playing too much Madden. I mean, that's crazy to me. I mean, that is crazy.
I don't care. I hate Green Bay. I hate Aaron Rodgers. I hate everything about their squad. You know what? If it's games, if it's Playboy, if it's beer, I don't care. Whatever it is, I'm sending pallets of shit out to Green Bay right now.
Oh man, I love it. Love it.
I just hope next year in Madden I hear 319.
I hope next year Madden's got the sideline things that people throwing iPads and helmets and walking off like a sissy holding his hand late in the game. Play it.
Hey, that'll be real.
It would be.
All right, so now we're going to go down to Atlanta. This game on Sunday. Give me your thoughts, guys, on how much it really means to win. I mean, obviously, if we win, we're in first, but because the Packers lost the other night, can we afford to lose this game, or is this a must game for us now?
Yeah, really. I mean, any game against an NFC opponent is pretty much a must-win game. I mean, especially the Falcons. I mean, they're sitting with the second wild card spot right now, I believe, and we're sitting with the because of the Green Bay loss, we've got the top seed, third seed in the conference right now. So, we got to keep winning now. You almost hate to say it, but isn't every game from here on out, these next 5 games must-win games for the Vikings? I would say they are, because, we got the Packers again, we got Atlanta this week, we got Arizona. I mean, Arizona that next week, that could be a huge game as far as the playoff picture goes. So, I think, again, I hate to say it's a must-win game, but it kind of is. It's one of those games where Atlanta's reeling. They've lost 4 of their last 5. And their win, here's a stat for you. Their win was against Tennessee, 10-7. So, I mean, they started out 5-0, and it's been a collapse since then. So, this is one of those games where you look at, and it should be a victory, even though it's a road game. And I know those are hard to come by as a Vikings fan, but we're playing better on the road this year. Atlanta is struggling. And you just look at this game on paper, they've got some injuries. Are we going to be able to shut down Julio Jones? I think we can do that. We should win this game, but it's a tough place to play. And, I guess it is kind of a must-win game as far as I'm concerned, especially if you still want a shot at home field advantage. These next 2 weeks are absolutely pivotal on where we end up at the end of the season. So hopefully we can play a little bit better. Hopefully the officials are on our side this week, and hopefully we win. So TV's going to be there cheering for the Vikings. So hopefully that's going to give us the edge, right, TV?
I'm hoping. This week, I don't want to call it a trap game. I'm hoping the Vikings are pissed off after last week losing the game. They don't want to lose 2 in a row, especially the Falcons, a team that's kind of reeling here. They started off very well. They're not doing very well right now, but they're not a very good squad. People talk about how bad Teddy Bridgewater is. Trust me, I'd rather have him than Matty Ice. I really would. If you pay attention to Matt Ryan, the guy, talk about not having a long ball, he doesn't have it. But this game is pretty important, because if you look at it, all the rest of our games are against NFC teams. We're going to have another AFC opponent. So these are all tiebreaker games. They're all NFC games that we're playing here. 2 more division games, 2 games against, the Seahawks and Cardinals that are not in pushovers by any stretch of the imagination, and the Falcons. So to me, this and the Giants game are 2 easiest, I hate using that word, games in the schedule that are left. So I'm sitting here right now, I'm praying that the Vikings come out and, pissed off, because there's going to be basically this game being played in Atlanta this week is basically a Vikings game being played on a neutral field, because the Falcons don't have a huge following down here. And there's a lot of Viking fans coming in for this game. The communication I've had with people, it's going to be loud, it's going to be intense, it's going to be a good time, but I'm hoping they keep up and can just put Matty Ryan on his ass. I hope Brian Robinson goes off and just blows him up, 4 or 5 times. I'm really looking forward to it. And God, we need this win. We need a win this week. We really do.
I agree. We have to basically put our stake in the ground for the playoffs here. We can't just be, a mediocre team now down the road and squeak or back into the playoffs, so to speak. This game is a tell for us. I mean, we choked last week, and I'm saying choked because we choked. This game is bring your big boy pants here, guys. Beat the crap out of the Falcons. Come home, play a tough team against Seattle, and then hit the road again for another tough team in Arizona. Schedule doesn't get any easier. You can't play good one week, bad the next, good and bad and mediocre and all that bull crap. You played great football for 5 weeks in a row, and then you dropped a golden bomb against Green Bay, the worst team in the league you could have played shitty against. Pardon my language, everybody at home, but I just get so worked up on that last game. This game here, we have to set dominance of who we are again.
I agree with you, Bob. I do. I agree. We need to go in there, set the pace. One thing I like that Zimmer's done, and in the past 2 seasons, which is finally starting to show through here, is what we haven't seen in years, is rather than, game planning towards a team and saying, okay, we gotta match what they're doing and try to figure out how to stop what they're doing. He's like, no, screw it. You stop what we're doing. You stop our defense. You stop our offense. I don't care what you have going on your side. You stop us. We're not game planning for you, but you game plan for us. And I think this week he's gonna come up with his boomstick and lay the smack down again this week. I'm excited about this game. And the Vikings come out and lay an egg this week, I'm gonna lose my mind as I'm walking out of the stadium. If they come out there and kick his ass, I'm gonna be preaching, Zimmer for president.
Both of you guys are right here, and again, we hate to sit here and put the pressure on and whatever, but these guys are professional athletes, are paid a lot of money. Zimmer has to find a way. This is a game in seasons past that we look at and go, oh, we're going to lose this game if Frazier or Childress or any of those clowns were around yet. So this is a game where I think the Vikings, they probably had a real hard week of practice. Hopefully Zimmer got their heads right. Hopefully we got a few guys coming back from some little nagging little injuries, and hopefully they just come out hungry and put it all together, because, it's this week Atlanta and then Seattle, then Arizona. Is that what it is? I mean, those are 3 games. I think you got to have, if you want to be a playoff contender and not just show up and lose in the playoffs, you need to win probably 2 of those 3, don't you think?
Absolutely. The one thing I'm looking at this week, though, with our game is, as last I saw, the only 2 people on the injury report are Harrison Smith and Everson Griffin. But with the no-name defense as we have, people need to step up. People need to be ready to go. Kendricks is back. Barr's back. Let's go kick their ass. I'm just, foot down, pedal down. Let's roll. Let's do this. Seattle's not going to be an easy game down the road. But right now, as just for Atlanta, we should be kicking their ass this week. I've watched enough Atlanta games. I think I still hate them. I'll never forget '98. I hate Atlanta. I live here and I hate the damn team. But we should be whooping this team's ass because they're not as good as they're advertised to be, or as they started off, I should say. This is a game that Vikings should win. If they lose this game, then the panic button should be pushed.
Don't you think that it's kind of in the hands of Ryan to win this, with Devonta Freeman being out and Tevin Coleman being their option at running back? I know he had a good game earlier in the year, but asking a ruck to come in against our defense, I think that might be a lot for their running game to handle. I really think it's going to be what Ryan can do with the ball in his hand, and if he can get it downfield against our defense. And if we're daring him to beat us, I don't know if he is a guy like Aaron Rodgers that can do that.
I don't believe so. I believe Matty Ice and Julio Jones are the 2 guys to worry about. The one thing that scares me with the rookie being back there, running back, is no one's got any tape in the guy really, except for the second half of last week's game. So those are usually the guys that bite us in the ass. Is you have no information on them, you have no film, and they come out there and you can't game plan them for them really, and they come out there and they blow you up. So that makes me a little bit more nervous than having Freeman back there, to be completely honest with you.
You know what I think we need to do? Someone needs to reach out to the Packers organization and have them sim the game 100 times. The Packer players can sim this week's game. And they can let us know who's going to win. Then we can all go to Vegas and make a shitload of money.
So we're going to get the game plan while we're putting their players in their Xboxes and their PlayStation 4s and taking them off their game for the next week. Is that the plan?
I don't know any of this.
Exactly. I love it.
I see you, Obi.
Hey, they run those simulators every year before the season. They try to predict who's going to make the playoffs, who's going to win the Super Bowl, and they may as well sim it this week for us and let us know the results.
I really think this game is the Vikings got to put the foot in the ground or the stake in the ground and show the rest of the league that they are for real. If they don't do it, they're going to be the same old Vikings as they've been the past 10, 15 years, other than 2009.
That is harsh, Bob. That is harsh.
Well, they lose this game. They're back tied with the friggin' Packers. Actually, technically would be behind because they lost to the Packers. But you can't have losing streaks. You really can't. If you want to be a dominant team and be one of those teams that gets mentioned into going to the Super Bowl, you got to beat the good teams, and you got to beat the teams that are ahead of you or close to you. I mean, Atlanta's a game behind us. You still got to beat them, because if they lose this game, which would be tied, but would be behind them, and now we fall from 3 to 6, and the way the other teams come up from behind to catch us, who knows what's going to happen? We have a tough schedule ahead of us. This game's important to us. We have to win this game. And from that, I think we're going to. I'm going to throw it out there now. I'm going to go first and say we win this game 27-20. No one's laughing or no one's saying anything else. So
No, I'm 27-20.
Yeah.
No, I can't laugh at that. All joking aside, I think I've been doing the winning streak was going on, picking against the Vikings. Damn it, I'm not going to do it again. We broke the jinx last week of my, GB, picking against the Vikings. I honestly think Teddy's going to have a game like he had last year at TCF, his first start against the Falcons. I think we're going to win 35-10 this week. We're going to kick their ass. And I really feel that we're going to beat the piss out of them this week.
You think last year's game against the Falcons has maybe given Teddy a little bit of confidence going into this game, knowing that he's beat him once already?
Sure.
I think so. Like we were just talking about the rookie running back with Atlanta. It's the same type of thing with Atlanta not having film on Teddy last year. But I think Teddy's in sporting partial wood this week, thinking that he's going up against that same team this week. For granted, it's in Atlanta. I think he has the confidence to say that let's light these bastards up. Let's do it.
Well, Teddy threw the ball great last week, unless he held the ball on way too long and took a 18-yard sack. He's got to learn to get rid of that.
We need someone to block for him, Bob.
It goes both ways.
It does. It does. But God, man, he has got no time to throw the damn thing.
But even when he did, he hung on to the ball way too long. You can't take a 7, 8, 9-minute sack. No one's open for the ball. You see Tom Brady on Monday night? Within 3 or 4 seconds, no one's open for the ball away.
Well, how many times did he intentionally ground the ball without it being called, Bob? We don't get those calls. Come on. I'm not. Get me out of this damn ref thing, dude. I don't want to start saying ref bias, but Tom Brady, if you're watching that game, he'd throw the ball 3 feet in front of him. It wasn't intentional ground. He's basically clocking it.
Well, the one thing about Teddy and taking those deep sacks, and I think that's the thing that Bob's alluding to, is like taking a 5-yard sack. That's one thing, but when you're taking 10, 15-yard sacks, you got to, instead of backpedaling, you need to start moving outside the tackle box and throw that ball away. You can't keep backpedaling that far. That's on Teddy there, and yeah,
absolutely.
His protection is breaking down. But that's one takeaway from the Green Bay game that he could probably improve on. I bet he knows that.
Absolutely, I agree with you 100% there, Olson. That the 18-yard, the big huge sack. Trust me, I said all sorts of expletives when that happened about him, but I'm just. He needs some time to throw the ball. And I think Atlanta sucks. I think Atlanta sucks on both sides of the ball. Yeah, I don't think they have something that's just going, man, I really fear this besides Julio Jones. That's the only thing that fears me, puts any fear in my eyes as far as the Atlanta squad. But Teddy's got to make better decisions. So I agree with you guys on that. But, yeah, he needs someone better than the 4 of us blocking for him to give him some time.
Yeah, the 4 of us might be an improvement.
You know what? Was it just me, or did Khalil look awful last week? I mean, Khalil, the first, 10 weeks of the season, he had a couple of games where, we kind of scratched our heads a little bit, but he's actually been pretty solid. I thought Khalil last week was I thought he was terrible. I haven't looked up the grade that PFF gave him over the week, but it seemed like he was really the whole line played poor, but it seemed like on about 4 of those 6 sacks or whatever Teddy took, Khalil was just getting schooled out there. So, is it just me, or do you guys see that too?
Well, Khalil's playing with an injury. He had a toe injury, which makes him a 300-pound guy really tough to push off when you have a toe injury. And he gave it his best shot, and he did get better as the game went along. First series, I think he had 2 penalties, and the next series he had another one. And the rest of the game, he didn't move great, but,
No.
What's the alternative? What's the alternative? You put a guy who's never played before? His backup was, Shepard? He wasn't going to do any better than Khalil, that's for sure. But Khalil...
Wow. Would he have done any worse, really? I mean, Khalil was just, I don't know. I mean, he wasn't himself last week. It's pretty obvious he was, he's playing hurt. But, I mean, at some point, at what point you pull him out of the game and go, thanks for the effort, but it's not working out?
I don't know. I probably disagree.
I don't know if that Khalil sucked. It started out the game with the penalty, pissed me off. But it's not even the penalties that, jumping off sides or having a false start is no reason because of a toe injury. It is what it is. But, Khalil, I'll say for the year so far, he's done pretty damn good this year. He's been a lot better than he did the past 2 years. So I'll give him that. But there's something going on that, you as a professional player have to tell your coaches, you know what? I'm SOL this week. You got to put someone else and have somebody else ready because I'm not going to be ready to go at full strength. That's going to cost us.
Oh, I'm sure the coaching staff knew that. They practiced all week, and they probably saw that he wasn't doing great. And I think he actually missed a day of practice anyway. And then they, come game time, was it a game time decision? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I'm on the coaching staff. But again, we're down Sullivan. We're down Loadholt. We've got Band-Aids everywhere. Nobody else is going to come in and do better than Khalil. Even if he has a toe injury. If he can stand up and do somewhat decent, he's not going to do any worse than anybody else. For example, you look at Loadholt went down, you put in a rookie Clemens. How's Clemens, guys? How's he playing? Your thoughts?
Clemens, he's playing like a rookie. That's what he's playing to me, but he's playing pretty good. I'm sorry, Olsen, to cut you off there. Go back to you, man.
Man, I was going to say the exact same thing. You're looking at a rookie stepping in who wasn't planning on playing this early, and I think we're getting about the level of play that you could expect out of that.
Okay, so if you took Clemens to replace Loadholt, and he's already played now 10 games, how would you feel taking Khalil out and putting Shepard in?
Well, now the blind side of the quarterback, that you're asking for a whole different level of position there compared to the right tackle. I mean, Teddy's looking at the guy coming right at him if Clemens is beat. You want to talk about the blind side, I'm a lot less comfortable bringing in somebody to replace Khalil right now. And honestly, the guy's had a pretty dang good season, so I don't think we need to rush to replace him anytime soon just because he had one bad game.
I agree with that.
I agree with you.
And not a bad game, a few bad plays.
Well, that's basically what I was saying. Even with a toe injury, he was still better than his replacement. My opinion. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, I think, once, twice, 3 times.
No, Bob, I agree with you. I don't know what we had to replace him. I haven't seen the people play. I'm not with these guys in practice, so I can't say that. And the coaches know, and that's probably why he wasn't replaced. But just watch that from a fan's perspective. He was outmatched, he was outgunned, he was not at full health. Get him out of that damn game. It's just every time he was in there, every time I saw a penalty in the offense, I'm like, Matt Khalil, 75, whatever, 75, whatever. That's what the penalty is going to be. But if you're not at full health, get out of there. We're trying to win. We're trying to win championships here. We're not trying to sit here and just trying to make the playoffs. Let's do some damage here. We had a good team. Play. Everyone needs to do their job. And if you can't do your job, get out of there.
Well, the one thing I'll say about Khalil's penalties, he's no Todd Stussy.
Amen to that.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah, what the bigger question to you, is I'm sitting here. I was watching the games yesterday. Not to get away from the Cleo talk here, but I was watching the Lions game. Did we get those guys at the right time? Are we lucky that we got them out of the way right away, or are we sitting there going, they're better than we thought they were? They are what we thought they were, or just what? Because this Lions team is looking good.
Well, they fired the offensive coordinator and promoted Billy Bob Cooter.
He's from Georgia, probably.
Or he's somewhere red in the country. And the offense has played better. The defense was never really that questionable. They played some tough games, but there was just no connect on offense. So thank God we are done with Detroit, because they would scare the crap out of me if we had to play them one more time, especially in Detroit.
What do you think of the way they manhandled Philadelphia the other day?
That was something, man. I'm telling you.
I watched it. I was like, we're watching the game. He turned it on. I was like, what in the hell? Calvin Johnson looked like he was, 10 years younger yesterday. It was unbelievable. It was crazy. This kid, he was up and down that field catching everything that's coming his direction. But it was sweet. I was actually rooting for Detroit to win that game, even though they're in a division. But I was like, I'm glad they're not in our schedule for the rest of the season. I am. I really am.
I am too. I wish we were done with Chicago as well, because Chicago's playing well now too.
Yeah, you remember that redneck, that northerner, southerner guy that lives in McDonough, Georgia? GV, you guys call him, saying Chicago's better than we thought they were.
No, I don't know him.
Chicago is. They're doing it right now. We all thought they were nuts, like they're trying to tank, kind of like Cleveland was last year, or the year before, like getting rid of Trent Ridges. Like, what are they doing? Get rid of this guy. They're trying to tank the season. Chicago's. I think John Fox is going in there doing a good thing with that squad. So I think Chicago's a good team. But God, I'm more nervous about the Chicago game than I am the Green Bay game down the road. OBM, what are you thinking about these teams?
Well, I mean, obviously the Lions, I don't know what happened there, but all of a sudden they look like they've got some high-powered offense. Like you said, Calvin Johnson, who I thought looked like a completely different player, 6 weeks ago when we were playing him or whatever it was. I mean, we held him under 100 yards both games, I think. So, I mean, he's normally a guy that you got to really game plan for, and he's just a threat all the time on the field. And suddenly he looks like he's rejuvenated himself. Stafford's playing better. I mean, the Bears and Lions, you're right. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I wouldn't want to play the Lions again at all right now, because that is a team that appears to have kind of turned the corner, and they're going to play the spoiler for someone down the line here. I think they're going to beat someone and maybe do some damage. So I'm glad we're done with them. But again, going back to the NFC North, I mean, the Vikings just got to take care of business, like you said, this week. We got to win this week. Get the train rolling again, get our confidence back, get our swagger back, and winning cures a lot of the criticisms that we had about last week's Packers game. So all those penalties, I mean, that game I couldn't believe some of the flags that were being thrown in that game. Like TV said, it just seemed like every call went against the Vikings, and that's something that, I expect a call here and there, whatever, and Xavier Rhodes seems to get one every week, whatever, I expect it, but some of those calls, no doubt, we can question some of those calls. I don't want to say it felt like the Saints back in 2009, the championship game, but I'll tell you what, there were some calls there that they were phantom calls. I watched the replay and went, huh? What are these guys seeing out there? So, I really hope they take a look at the officiating at the end of the year. They're not going to do anything now, but there's definitely it's going to raise some questions. There's been a lot of games where the officiating, even after the play's been called, I mean, they've come out the next day and said, yeah, that was the wrong call. We screwed up. I mean, that stuff cannot be happening in today's NFL as far as I'm concerned. So, but anyway, so I got off topic, but Vikings just got to take care of themselves. That's what they need to do, right?
let me pose a question to you then. What do we need to do to win this week? With linen aside, yellow linen aside, what do the Vikings need to do to win this week? Because after last week, I all sorts of questions started popping into my head, like what happened to the squad? But what do we need to do to go into Atlanta this week and win? OBM, what do you got?
Well, I think the first thing that we need to do is we need to get better play out of our offensive line. I mean, I think that was pretty obvious after watching last week's game. We need to have better play out of that offensive line because that's going to open up some running lanes for Adrian Peterson, who just never really got going last week. So we need to reestablish our running game, and then that, in turn, should improve our passing game. So I think if we can do those two things, get our running game going, get the offensive line, control the clock, control the ball, and then take some shots down the field. I mean, this is a team that's lost 4 of their last 5. It's a must-win game, like we said. I think we need to take some shots down the field. And whether that's with Diggs or Wallace or whoever, maybe Rudolph across the middle. But, it starts with the offensive line, let's be honest. And if we can get them going and get AP going, and then I think everything else will kind of take care of itself. This is not a team that really scares you offensively, other than Julio Jones. And yeah, you're right about Kevin Campbell at the running back, Tevin Coleman. I mean, we don't know what we're going to be facing there, so it's a little bit of a, we don't know a lot about the guy, like you said. So other than those two guys, though, I mean, who's going to beat you? So that's where I'm at. I mean, Olsen, you're more of an expert on the O-line and Teddy than I am. What do you think? Is that something that we're going to improve on this week, and it's going to maybe change, how we play this week? Are we going to play better against Atlanta than we did against Green Bay?
Well, I think the key that you said there is we're going to have to throw the ball downfield, and I think that's exactly right. This is the game for Teddy to really get off the schneid here and move the ball down the field through the air, because Atlanta has one hell of a run defense, or at least they're ranked that high right now. So I'm not sure that the offensive line is going to get off the ball and push them around too much. I don't know that I'm looking for Adrian to have a huge day, but if he does, boy, look out, because if we can move the ball on this team, then we're really talking about having something there. So I think the game plan is going to have to be to move the ball through the air, but if we can open them up a little bit and then go to Adrian to ride it home in the fourth quarter, I think we could really look at taking over and controlling this game. And that's not just a homer talk in me. I mean, I'm always looking for ways that we're going to win, but I think that's the way that we can really do some damage on this team. GV?
I think the key to this week is really, like you guys were saying, throwing the ball. I'm going to get back to, I think it's going to take Adrian running for 100, 150 yards this week to win this game. No one's afraid of our passing game. If we can try all we want to throw the ball deep, but until we have one connection happen between Wallace and Bridgewater or Diggs or whomever, like a 50-plus yard gain on a pass, no one's going to fear it. They're going to keep stacking that box every single time. So, I don't know. I'm still kind of thinking about it here. Bob, what do you got to say while I think about this?
I like what we have been doing all year so far. I mean, we're 7-3. Our offense is boring as all hell. I don't care. They're 7-3. This team, I've been saying it all year long, is built on defense. They go out, they beat the crap out of their team, they make them punt, they shorten the field for the offense. Offense runs the ball, chews up the clock. If they score, whether it be a field goal or a touchdown, who cares? Points are points. And the defense, other than last week, in week 1, have controlled the game. It's my opinion. I would not change that. Yes, people keep saying Norv Turner is pretty boring. So what? If he wins the Super Bowl with that, would you care? It's just how I feel.
Super Bowl anyway. I love it, Bob. Keep talking.
Yeah. The team,
Keep talking.
The team is still built on defense winning the game for them, and built on offense going through Adrian Peterson. Teddy Bridgewater has to pass the ball when he has to pass the ball. Until then, they're going to hand the ball off to Peterson. This is why we see run on first down 95% of the time. Is it boring? Yeah. I don't care. The Giants won a couple Super Bowls that way. You know, it's just how they play the game. The Ravens have won Super Bowls on defense. Giants won the Super Bowl by pounding the ball and setting up the defense. It's old school. It is boring, but it wins sometimes. You know, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. You know, I think Zimmer, who's in his only second year as coach now, is learning stuff on the fly. And last year he learned quite a bit, going 7-9. This year he's 7-3. Hope he doesn't lose the last 6. Going that way, he's learning to adjust on the fly. Halftime, they were a different team, and they come back out, unlike our last coaches. You know, it's great to see what they're doing with the ball on offense. Teddy can throw the ball. You know, Rudolph had a career game last week. I like that. You know, it's about time he earned some of his money. I still want to see our receivers get more open, you know, more involved, like Diggs. He had a couple of great games. Now he's probably getting double covered. Fine. Where's Wallace? That guy is ridiculous.
Where's Johnson, Bob? Where's Johnson? He was awesome last year. He was awesome last year, and he hasn't done. He's been like invisible this year. They replaced him just Diggs and Johnson. Is that kind of a go back and forth thing? Maybe I missed it.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you.
I think the real question is Mike Wallace. I mean, I had a buddy of mine this week. We were talking. He's like, "There's no way Mike Wallace is on this team next year." He thinks he's an absolute bust at this point. And that's my question to you guys: is Wallace a bust? Or is it just Teddy and him just do not, you know, I mean, Teddy's missed him a couple of times wide open. We all know that. But is Wallace the guy you want back next year? What do you guys think?
No.
Not the money he's commanding, or he's going to be due. No way, get rid of him. People talk about how many times, you know, Teddy's missed him. Think of how many times he's dropped a ball that's been right in his hands. You know, this guy's a bust. Whatever. He's a number 2. He did well with Brown in Pittsburgh. He got paid because of his stance there. He is a number 2. We need a number 1.
You ain't kidding. He's number 2.
Yeah, he is. He's a deuce. You know, and we need a true number 1 receiver on this team. We have 2s and 3s. I was hoping Patterson was going to be the number 1 after a couple of years, but obviously we won't get into that right now. But it's. Right now, we need a true number 1 receiver, some guy you can look at, you know, and say, that's our guy. Even Randy Moss in our offense was a number 2.
Yeah.
Okay? You know, we had Chris Carter to throw the ball to. We need a guy who's sure-handed, that can catch a ball, you throw it, can get open. Not to sound bad, Greg Jennings is more of a number 1 than Mike Wallace is. You know, we need a 1. So I don't care if we got to get in the draft, free agency, any way we do it. Once we get one, that'd be a game-changing thing for this entire offense. Not, you know, obviously need some little O-line help, but a number 1 receiver would be a game changer.
I think that's coming next year.
I agree.
You
know, it's funny you said that too, TV, because that's exactly what my buddy said. He said we would have been better off. You know, Greg Jennings would have taken a pay cut, which he refused to take a pay cut. That's pretty much why he's not there now. But he thought we'd be better off with Greg Jennings. I thought that was pretty interesting, and to hear that now from you, it just makes you, it's one of those things you kind of look back on. And would this team be a little bit different with Greg Jennings there instead of Mike Wallace? I don't know.
I believe so. We have a good running game. Our tight ends are okay. They're not bad. They're above average. I'll say that. You know, but you can't, if no one's getting open, you need your dump off guy who's a wide receiver. Someone can throw. You know, you get double coverage on a guy. Right now, these guys are lined up man to man. You know, got safety over the top, covering. You know, 2 guys basically. We've got nothing. Nothing to put fear into opposing secondary. Nothing right now.
I have to agree with that. Like I said, I think our number 1 is coming next year in free agency. There's quite a few free agent wide receivers out there that would make this team much more improved in that position. They might take a feel on a second or third rounder in a draft, but I don't see them spending it first.
Do you have someone on your wish list, Bob?
Absolutely, we all do. Alshon Jeffrey.
You think he'd come to Minnesota?
Well, I don't think he's going to leave Chicago. They have a franchise tag they'll throw on him. They'll have money because I think Forte's probably done out there, and they'll give the money to Langford. I think it comes down to keeping Forte or Alshon Jeffrey. They keep him Jeffrey, but I can dream, right? Yeah, we all can. I think I haven't looked at who's available this coming up off season, but Jeffrey, I didn't even know if I don't know how he'd work here. He just, when he had Marshall out there, he did pretty well, so I'm kind of, Jeffrey's still up in the air for me just because of the Marshall factor is out there. That's when he put up huge stats. He did last year, then people started covering him this year, and he's got injury concerns, but it's a start, Bob. I can't dog you for it. I'd rather have him than Wallace. I'll say that. It's just, you're trying to improve the team, but obviously there's a salary cap. You have, certain limitations. What we're paying for Wallace right now, we're definitely not getting anywhere near that value. So I would take the same money and give it to Jeffrey, who's making, peanuts and putting up good numbers. I can't disagree with you now on that. I can't. Obian, what do you think?
Yeah. Looking at the free agents, wide receivers, and it is ugly. I mean, like you said, Alshon Jeffrey, I mean, he's easily the number one guy out there. I cannot see Chicago letting him go. Forte is going to be gone for sure, but next guy on the list, I mean, from what I'm looking at, I mean, someone like Anquan Bolden, Travis Benjamin, I mean, Michael Crabtree, Percy Harvin's available. Maybe we can bring back Percy. Not.
Yeah, Percy's all yours, and Bolden's all yours too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, looking at this list right now, I'll tell you right now, I got to be honest. Other than Alshon Jeffrey, there is no one on this list that I would even consider paying to bring in. I really wouldn't. I mean, Malcolm Floyd, Crabtree, Rod Streeter, Jermaine Kearse, Miles Austin. How is Miles Austin still playing? That guy, well, anyway, I mean, that's why this year, I think when we looked at the draft, and I can remember this, on the site, we were discussing, hey, Amari Cooper somehow slides. And there were people who thought Cooper could slide conceivably to us, and it didn't happen, obviously. But can you imagine Amari Cooper on this offense right now?
Could be in a tease.
Completely different team, is it not?
Absolutely. I think if you had a Cooper on this team, I'm not saying he's Randy Moss, but I think he would take some coverage off and move players around on the defense. Right now, it's pissing me off a little bit because you figure if you had someone like a Cooper, which you wouldn't have a chance for at all. But think of the yards that Peterson had. We're wasting Peterson right now. He's doing well. Don't get me wrong. He's doing very well. I was wrong after week 1 and 2 thinking that he slowed down because he was coming back, from being a year off. He's shaking out the rust. The guy's playing well. He's playing better than I've ever seen any 30-year-old running back ever play. But watching him right now, it's like, are we wasting him right now? Because if we had a number one receiver, a true number one, someone could take, the attention off him. I can only imagine what he'd be doing right now. Can you imagine if he would have been on the 98 squad? What would he be doing right now?
Wow. Yeah, I agree.
Good call.
How we didn't win a Super Bowl that year is still just unbelievable. Unbelievable to me.
Hey, I was thinking about this week. We had our upsets. We were kind of screwed up about a week or two ago, and I was still wrong last week. And says, Bob, what do you got for an upset this week? Because I'm still looking at the schedule because I'm not quite sure what's really an upset. What do you got this week?
I'm taking the Bears over Green Bay.
I was thinking the same thing.
No,
Hold on, I'm going to Vegas with that, Bob. I'm going to Vegas with that. Right now.
Drop $1,000 for me too. Will you? I'll pay you back, honestly. No, this week, I think I'm going with tough games here, but I think Denver beats New England. I said it.
Nice.
Damn you, Bob.
Like
Damn you, Bob.
That was your pick too, GB?
Yes, it was, but I'll find something else.
Oh, man, I got to pull it back up now. That was totally my pick. Let's see here. I will go with, Lord, how about Rams over the Bengals? Would that be an upset?
It would be. Yeah, absolutely it would be. You think the Rams would beat the Bengals?
I don't know. I'm looking at the rest of the game, and I really don't see anything else I like. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Rams over the Bengals. The Bengals aren't playing that well right now, and the Rams are kind of due, right? So, yeah, Todd Gurley, run, baby, run.
Olsen, you thinking about the Raiders over the Titans this week, or Titans over the Raiders, or hell, how about the Browns over the Ravens? What do you got, Olsen?
God, I was looking through the odds here while while OBM was making his pick, and he stole the thunder. Really, the one that really jumps off the page. I don't know.
How about the Jaguars Chargers game? You got anything on that?
Yeah, or Bills Kansas City maybe. That's another big one.
I think that I don't know who's the favorite, but that is. Look, to me, it sounds like a Bills victory in that one, but that's just me because the KC secondary is terrible.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take the Bills over KC.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. That's a good pick there. I like that. This week for my upset, God, I didn't even know if it's even really an upset. It's picking the Buccaneers over the Colts. Is that an upset?
Well, I'm gonna tell you guys what you guys told me last week. If you're picking that game, you got to watch it.
I'll watch it. 1 o'clock, I'll be gone. I'll watch it from the Georgia Dome on Sunday.
Yeah, I think Tampa Bay is -3, so yeah.
Yeah, Tampa Bay's the favorite in that thing?
No, I think they're the under.
The under? Oh yeah, I'll take the Bucs in the game against the Colts.
All right, everybody. I guess that's our show for the week. We hope you all enjoy it at home, and hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. This week, obviously, we did not bring a guest on with us because it's the holiday time and we didn't want to bother anybody. Next week, we'll be back on full show. And enjoy the game on Sunday. Go Vikes. Guys, wrap it up with us. Say good night.
Good night, y'all.
Say ya.
I want to know who's buying my beer on Sunday, really, because I hear there's people who listen to the game, they're showing up. Yeah, GV, we're glad to see you. Who's buying my beer?
I think we need to make some more bets with some past appearances on the show.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure I got to take the MARTA up there. I've never driven the MARTA before. I'm like, all right, I'm taking this up there to go tailgate. And, he's like, yeah, we'll see you there, Jimmy. I'm paying the $60 to park. I'm like, you have a good time getting out of downtown Atlanta after the game. Have a good time with that. So whoever's showing up, you owe me a beer.
You're going to have to go Rick Grimes to get through that crowd.
What'd you say?
You're going to have to go Rick Grimes to get out of that crowd.
I'm about to go Rick James to get through that damn crowd, man. It's like, pow!